Here's our Jason Mchuff, and he's going to tell us what happened at today's board meeting. And first thing we want to know, how did Fred handle his resignation speech?
He said he'd talk about it later, but that I have it down in here. It's that's time for him to change, or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
or time for a change, or whatever. But to begin, there's
About
two new.
5 years ago would have been better, but
Uh,
no comment. Go ahead.
he's done some good stuff.
Well, he's put in rail. Big deal. So
There's
what?
also frequent service. The total transit system.
There's none of that anymore. It's all gone. So
Well, it's been trimmed back. Let's say.
yeah, that was there, and now it's
Temporarily.
gone. Well,
They.
right. Well,
And
as of today, it's gone. I don't want to hear. It may come back. It may not. We don't know.
I mean, it's on. To be honest, if they have a new general manager, winds could change.
Well,
But,
sure, things should come back, but you know what?
But now they intend.
They've got so much extensions and so many expansions that they cannot afford to keep everything running. And
Well, now, I mean, the payroll tax has been gone down.
I know that.
For every quarter, it's been.
That's right, but
So,
they're still expanding in the face of decreasing payroll tax. Do you understand? So.
Well, the good news, about the Milwaukee line, that'll replace the 33. So
Well, I understand. I just got information that 72 has not dropped any ridership as a result of the Green Line. Can you verify that? Do you know anything about it?
It's gone down 1/3.
It has.
I have graphs and whatever. And
so 1/3 of the ridership has gone down.
I believe it's 1/3. There's.
So that's some drop, but it's not a huge. It's not like, oh, everybody's now riding Green Line.
Well, not everybody, but there's what I did compared across the whole line between different
Yeah,
years.
I remember looking at the station.
And you can really tell that there is a.
But they haven't decreased any service on the.
They are going to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, nevertheless,
Finally, yeah.
I still question that. Nevertheless, go ahead. Sorry.
They are going to do that. It's on the list. There's two new board members.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, one's the head of the Albina Ministerial Alliance, or whatever it is, or some.
Right, yeah.
And he was actually from Massachusetts.
Oh. Well,
he was appointed by Governor Dukakis, or however you say it.
Yeah, that's
about I think about relocating the Orange Line.
Yeah, I actually met Dukakis when I was working in Quincy.
Huh.
I knew him.
And the other guy is the Providence CFO.
Providence Hospital?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll see.
And so they had a welcoming, and they basically, throughout the meeting, the President Passador really talked about how they run things, because this was their first time there. The Finance Committee talked about negotiation policy this morning.
And what about it?
I have a copy of it.
Okay, well, tell us about it, though.
One thing they mentioned about retiree health care, about wanting to control costs or something.
Okay.
And they had an update on negotiations this morning, and they said mediation may be the next step.
Right. Arbitration, you mean?
Well, she said mediation, but I'm guessing that that probably might be. Fred mentioned they're talking about ridership. Fred mentioned that the free rail zone is going smoothly, and that they have restored weekend service in Washington County on some of the lines, as in take them out of the proposed service cut, because people were saying that they need to get to work.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which lines exactly, but he was saying that people were
Right,
saying.
we noticed that it was the end result of the service cuts hearings are less service cuts than what they proposed.
Well, they changed things, yeah.
Well, they didn't just change them; they reduced the total number of service cuts, which brings into question the original estimate of how much service cuts they needed.
Well, part of it could be, they want to have options. Number one, number two, it could be that they find money that they can use.
They find money.
Well, like for the recovery.
Right, they find money. We know that already.
the Recovery Act,
Whatever pot they do it all the time. That's where they got the $35 million for the radios. They find money.
Well,
find it.
That's an essential thing. The radios are an essential thing.
Well, that's debatable, but
because first of all, the FDF,
yeah, the FCC or whatever.
Yes.
Well, if they require it, then they should pay for it, but they don't.
No.
They require a lot of things, don't they?
Money doesn't grow on trees.
Well, then don't have any radios. Okay, go ahead. Hey, how did the transit system ever exist before? How did people ever survive on Earth
nickels
without all
or
of it.
dimes or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, how did anything ever run? I used to have we have cell phones. We can use cell phones. When we need a problem, we'll call dispatch.
And actually, some agencies, I think I've heard, are doing that.
Yeah, right. They're not even bothering.
I don't know what the cost. Though this is a lot better because they can issue the text messages and whatever. And
really, yeah, right. They have the BDS hooked up to it, which is something. But
yeah, well, I mean, they can really know, and really. No, when everyone.
Look, I'm all in favor of it, but not in the face of service cuts. For service first and fancy shit.
I understand it, but in a couple of years they're not going to be. Would be fined if they use the radio system, and it's
the radio system we have works, so I don't know what to do.
Because they can't
see that old computer over there. That's like 8 years old, still works.
Well, I understand, but the thing is that besides the BDS, it's a lot older than that. It's in the mid '90s, but moreover, the thing is that, as you noted, the FCC will not let them use their radio system. Everybody in the country.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They won't pay for it though. So.
They will fine you though.
Well, so don't pay them. What are they going to do? Shut down TriMet? What are they going to do?
They'd probably come. I don't know.
Let them do it. That's what I've been reading editorials about.
And then it would mean that they wouldn't have a radio system. So if something happens on your bus,
I'll call them on my cell phone. They don't call back. Well, lately they have been calling back, so it's much better than it used to be.
Yeah,
used
but
to be
also
that used to didn't call you, but
also getting about messages, whatever.
What
really.
Messages? Most of them are useless. Anyway, it's not here nor there. Go ahead. We're not going to argue about radio.
I know we're off task. And like I said, Fred hates he mentioned as a regular transfer rider, he hates to decrease frequency.
But he has no choice.
I don't know if he really said that. We just talked about that he hates to do it.
Well,
When, as I said, that payroll revenues are continuing to go down like every quarter or whatever.
They're still going down? They're still going down?
I think
That's right, they still lost jobs in this county, didn't they?
They're starting to get better news.
They're losing less or something. They're still like negative jobs, though. It's still
negative. Rides and revenue is increasing.
Well, there's more riders from last month, I guess.
Yeah, and that's versus February of 2009.
Uh-huh.
Well, in the ATP is the most under budget, accessible transportation. Also, bus transportation under budget. She mentioned injury and property claims are down. And they're going to have more details about, I believe it's next year's budget next month. And there's also a resolution on pension management.
Pension management. What's the resolution?
Well, about the contract, to
What can you summarize it?
Well, they have an agency that they contracted with the management.
They have pension management now or pension management in the future?
Well, for I think maybe in the investments or whatever. I have to look. But it's about managing the pensions,
They're contracting out. Here we go again, contracting out. Because government doesn't do anything itself anymore. They contract it.
Sometimes
they don't do anything. They just contract everything. The city of Portland's doing the same thing.
Well, some of the things are specialized.
Yeah, right. And they have all these staff down here, but they don't want. Go ahead.
And this, I forget what's his name, mentioned in the public forum about room on the new buses. I think it was saying.
What? Room?
I think it was about knee room. I'm not sure if this was about the lift buses or the regular buses.
Public, or that was some.
Yeah. Jerry and Jason Barber spoke, and Lynn asked about finding a GM from within.
That's an idea. That's a good idea. Of course, I don't ever listen to him. But.
Well, they were saying that they want to encourage people from inside to look, but also that it's kind of a.
How about me? Should I apply? Should I apply for GM?
If you want to, but it's that it has that position.
I have 6 years of college, extensive transit experience. Go ahead.
So that position has a lot of. I don't want to say prestige, but a lot of.
Yeah, it's politics.
Well, that TriMet's really known, around the world.
Well, I'm known around the world. Shit, I have his status. Go ahead.
Well, it's
maybe not the vision they have.
It's really, the point is that it's really kind of a leader or whatever.
That's what they say. I never did understand why they got that reputation, but a leader in what? Streetcars?
Well, and Max and
what's the big deal about Max? Lots of cities have much more advanced
land use, and